Sonic, why do women and females and people of different genders and stuff, different like women and females, why do they have different genitals and stuff and private parts? Why do females have different private parts compared to males, Big Sonic? How come women, females, girls, the opposite sex, how come they're so different compared to like males and men and boys? How come girls, women, females are different compared to men, boys, males? Why are females different from males? Why are there opposite sexes? How come we have different private parts? What's going on, Big Sonic? Well, Small Sonic, that's just sort of how nature works. There are boys and girls, men and women, male and female and stuff, and we have different private parts. That's just how things are. We just have different private parts. I don't know, so we can come together to make babies. I don't know, that's why we have different private parts. That is just how things work in our world. There is like this type of yin and yang, I guess, I don't know. We just have different private parts so that we can come together and make babies. That's why there's men and women, boys and girls, male and female and stuff. Okay, Big Sonic. Okay, Big Sonic. Okay, Big Sonic. But why do we have different genitals and private parts? Is it just to make babies and stuff? Is that it? Well, Small Sonic, yeah, pretty much to make babies and to do other things, if you know what I mean. I don't want to get into something that's too graphic, but yeah, pretty much to make babies. That's why we have different private parts and genitals and stuff. Men and women, male and female, girls and boys and girls, are we the same in terms of like everything, in terms of like what we can do and stuff? Are male and female the same? Why do male and female, why do people put these things into like these words into different categories? Are men and women, boys and girls, male and female the same thing, or what's going on? Well, again, Small Sonic, men and women, boys and girls, male and female, these are words to describe the two sexes that exist in our species and other species and stuff. And again, we have different private parts so that we can make babies pretty much. And there are a couple other differences. I believe that typically males will, regardless of the species, will always seem to be stronger than the females regardless of the species. And this is probably just because of males are just, I don't know, they were just put through a lot more stress and stuff, and they have to do more and stuff to survive in the wild, and that's why males are typically stronger, whereas females generally are a lot more not as physically capable. Although obviously, typically there are exceptions, but typically in most animal species, the male is stronger than the female because the male has to do more to survive in the wild. And we have different private parts so that we can come together and make babies. Are you understanding everything I'm saying, Small Sonic? Do I need to go any further? Big Sonic, why do females have like, why do they have different private parts? Why are females actually weaker than males? I don't know. But I'm really concerned about the private parts. How come we don't have the same private parts? Well, Small Sonic, if we had the same private parts, we wouldn't be able to come together and make babies. Females, regardless of the species, are typically weaker than the males. Although there is a lot of disagreement and arguments about this, and a lot of people are contentious, but typically males are generally stronger than the females because males have to do more to survive in the wild. Obviously, the females, they have to do a lot to survive as well, but typically in most animal species, females are actually protected by the males, so they don't have to do a lot to survive. And the male has to kind of like go through war and hell and stuff. That's just how things are. We have different private parts so that we can come together and make babies. Okay, Big Sonic, you pretty much answered all of my questions about like two sexes and stuff that exist in a lot of different animal species, male and female, boys and girls, men and women. You've kind of I was wondering, like, why are they, like, why is there this type of polarity? Is there any other type of sex? Is it just men and women, male and female, boys and girls? Is there anything else? I mean, in some animal species, like, there's like hermaphrodites and like some animals and creatures, they have like both genitals and they reproduce asexually or something similar to this. Yes. Although typically in most animal species there's like male and female, boys and girls, men and women. That's just sort of how things are in nature. We typically have different private parts so that we can come together and make babies. Although some animal species are hermaphrodites, they have both genitals and they don't need to come together to make babies. They just do it on their own, one by one. That's very freaky. That is very freaky, Big Sonic. I'm gonna now kind of wash my eyes out. Thank you for your education and your contributions to this discussion, and I'm gonna be out of here because I need to wash my eyes now. Oh, okay, bye, Small Sonic, and I think that's about it. I'm gonna go now. I'm gonna have to go to the toilet, so goodbye as well. Man versus woman. Man versus woman. This sounds like I'm gonna be like very sexist and misogynistic and whatever. Obviously, I'm not gonna be like that. Hopefully, I'm not gonna be like that. Man, but this, okay, well, this topic's gonna be also very weird. Man versus woman. What do I mean by man versus woman? Man versus woman. It's such a, this is gonna be very inflammatory, very controversial. Probably going to be seen as being sexist and misogynistic, or anyway, I don't know. So who cares about that? But my opinions on this topic, right? Man versus woman, because it's obviously this topic relates to feminism and a lot of other important political problems. Man versus woman. Okay, to begin this type of discussion, we must like acknowledge the fact that man versus woman, that there is such a thing as like man. There's like a man and men. This is like a category of things. Man is like a thing. Man, male. Like there is like such a thing as a man, a male gender. Obviously, people, they're transsexuals and stuff like this, and they're like they want to identify as something else. But typically, men have specific chromosomes and they have specific genitals. A man, there is such a thing as a man, and there is such a thing as a woman. Woman, female, have specific chromosomes and genitals. So okay, so now we've at least established the fact that there is such a thing as man and woman. These things aren't like interchangeable. There is such a thing as like man and woman. Like these are not interchangeable. Like pretty solid chromosomes and genitals and stuff like this. These are like very objective things, man and woman. Obviously, trannies and transsexual people and stuff, and LGBTQ. That's a whole different story. That's something so completely different. I don't know. It's not really worth discussing right now. But there is something that we've already established the fact that there is such a thing as a man and a woman. Anyway, so okay, this is okay. The topic is man versus woman. The topic of this video is gonna be man versus woman. Okay, so am I just gonna be sexist and misogynistic, and I'm kind of be kind of like degrading one gender and not degrading the other? No. In my opinion, I believe man versus woman. I believe men and women are capable of a lot of the same things, obviously. Within reason, obviously, though, and obviously there's not like one type of man and one type of woman. There's like a whole variety of men and a whole variety of women. There are like muscular, athletic men, and there are like weak, skinny nerds, and there are like muscular, athletic women, and like women that are sort of obese, and women that are more skinny and frail and stuff. There's like, so it's kind of I'm kind of being sort of like a dumbass. Man versus woman. I'm making it seem like there's like only one. There's like this very clear cut like line between men and women. Obviously, there's so many like gray areas, and there's like so much like crossovers as well and stuff like that. Because there's not just one type of man and one type of woman. But a lot of you think that I'm going to be sexist and misogynistic. No, I believe men and women are capable of the same things in a lot of different cases within reason, obviously, but typically, I mean, because again, I know that there are like typically, it is like these stereotypical views that men are typically just stronger than women. They're more muscular, testosterone's higher, and all of this. Yeah, but obviously we know that like there are skinny, frail men and women that are more like muscular and obese and stuff. But so man versus woman. Okay, so come on, then tell us like the differences between men and women. Obviously, the differences are sort of out, or kind of common sense. Right? Men are typically like testosterone, like more muscular, or typically taller. I don't know. Actually, midgets. So you can see I'm kind of already mumbling and stumbling with my words. Maybe I'm just being a dumbass. Man versus woman. A lot of you are probably expecting me to be like very misogynistic and sexist, but I can't be like that. Typically man versus women, man versus woman, men versus women. Women are capable. Men and women are capable of a lot of the same things. Typically, within reason, obviously. And there's not like just one type of man, there's not just one type of woman. There is this type of stereotypical view that men are like all muscular and strong and typically higher testosterone. Typically that is true though, and women are like more frail and weak and higher estrogen. But although these types of stereotypical views, there is some truth to this. You get 100 guys, you get 100 girls and women and stuff and whatever, 100 men, 100 women. In my opinion, I believe that out of like these groups, like 100 men, you're going to find more men that are going to be stronger and muscular with higher testosterone compared to like the hundreds of women that you might be looking at and stuff. Typically, like, women won't be having like super high testosterone compared to like men. If you're looking at like there's 100 men, 100 women, right? Typically, out of the 100, out of like these two groups, like the men, like there's going to be more men with higher testosterone compared to like women with higher testosterone. You can see where I'm going with this. Right? Typically, these types of stereotypical views that men are like more physically capable and stronger and with higher testosterone, there is some merit to it. Obviously, there are exceptions. Obviously, not all men are like super muscular. Obviously, like some men are like frail nerds. And obviously, some women are very strong and physically capable and athletic. Obviously, but typically, if you got 100 guys, 100 girls, and stuff, and you look at like testosterone levels and stuff like that. The 100 guys are gonna have it's gonna be easier for you to find like more guys within these two groups, like more guys that have higher testosterone compared to women that have higher testosterone. Typically, women, testosterone women is kind of almost like a contradiction when you discuss when I'm saying testosterone and women. Although obviously, like women, there's not just one type of woman. There's not just one type of man. There's like a whole lot of differences and stuff like that. There's like different types of men and women and stuff, and some men are weak and frail, and sometimes the women are very muscular and strong. But again, you get 100 group of men, or 100 group of men, or 100 group of guys or boys or whatever. You get 100 group of women, females, girls. Typically, out of these like two groups, you're gonna find more men with higher testosterone compared to women. That's just facts. These types of stereotypical views that men are just physically more capable and stronger. Typically, that is somewhat true. That is like somewhat factual. That men are typically more physically capable and stronger compared to women, girls, females, blah blah blah. Yeah, that is true. Obviously, a lot of you are going to be contentious and disagree, but I mean, you got 100 group of men and guys, and you got 100 group of women, girls, females, women. We both know like you're going to find more men with higher testosterone compared to like the women out of these two groups. So yeah, but in my opinion, I believe for the most part, men and women, we are capable of a lot of the same things. Obviously, this doesn't mean that we have to do like this bullshit like equality stuff like that. We're like men and women. There are no differences between men and women. That is fucking retarded. But there are absolutely no differences between men and women. That's what some people believe in. I believe men and women are capable of a lot of the same things and stuff like that, within reason, obviously. If we're discussing like things like the same level of education and stuff like that, and both like the men and women in this type of hypothetical, they come from like they have the same opportunities and stuff like that, and they're the same chances to succeed. Then in my opinion, I believe men and women are pretty much capable of the same things, capable of succeeding like the same types of things. But obviously, maybe I'm being a dumbass, maybe I'm mumbling with my words, but obviously there are some people like this equality bullshit. Some people believe in this type of equality bullshit, that there are absolutely no differences between men and women. That's kind of, I don't know. Obviously, there's not just one type of man and one type of woman. There's like a bunch of different men and a bunch of different women. There's like a bunch of different categories and like different lines and stuff like that. I'm already kind of mumbling with my words. I'm already messing this video because this topic is so tricky and complex, and it's so inflammatory and controversial. Man versus woman. Obviously, man versus woman, I believe, because a lot of you are probably going to be expecting some type of sexist, misogynistic statements from me. No, man versus woman, I believe men and women are capable of a lot of the same things, obviously, within reason. Obviously, there are like still the people that believe in this type of equality bullshit. There are absolutely no differences between men and women. That's not true. There are differences hormonally. There are differences in terms of like private parts, genitals. There are differences. There is such a thing as a man and a woman. Typically, they're above all these stereotypical views that like men are typically stronger and bigger, muscular and stuff, more testosterone, these type of stereotypical views. There's a lot of disagreement about these types of stereotypical views, but typically, these stereotypical views, there's a reason that we stereotypically perceive men to be like more muscular, stronger, higher testosterone, and women to be more feminine and higher estrogen and like more frail and stuff. These types of stereotypical views aren't just like pulled from nowhere. They come from like a lot of our history and stuff as a species. Like, men used to go to war and stuff, and women used to be more at home, taking care of the family and children and stuff. So, I don't know. But, man versus woman, men versus women. A lot of you are probably expecting me to be like very sexist and misogynistic and whatever. No, I'm not gonna be like that. Men and women are capable of a lot of the same things, within reason, obviously, but you don't have to believe in this equality bullshit, or that there are absolutely no differences between man and woman, men and women. Obviously, that's bullshit. Obviously, there are differences in terms of hormones, hormonally, in terms of genitals, private parts, in terms of a whole lot of different things. There are differences between men and women, man and woman, male and female. There are differences. But is that all this video? The topic of this video is man versus woman. What are you getting at? Why are you like fucking leading this conversation to nowhere? Why am I being an ass? But man versus woman, typically I believe men and women, man and woman is capable of a lot of the same things, within reason. Although if you get like a man with like a man that has been like working out and building muscle and stuff and training, and you got a woman that's been building muscle and training, and you get both of these people together and stuff, I believe that the man is just going to be more physically capable, just because men are just naturally born with higher testosterone, if that makes sense. Man versus woman. Let's say you get like a man and a woman, and they're about the same in terms of height, in terms of like their health and stuff like that. They're about the same, and you get this man and woman, and both of them start training and building muscle and exercising and becoming more athletic and stuff. I believe in the end that the man would just be more physically capable than the woman, in my opinion. Obviously, a lot of people will be contentious and disagree, but men are born with higher testosterone. Typically, women are born with estrogen, typically not as stronger and muscular and stuff. Typically, obviously, stereotypical views, and obviously there are like a lot of exceptions. There are some men that are born like very effeminate and weak and frail, but exceptions, and there are midget men and stuff and tall women and stuff. I know about the exceptions, but typically. You get like a man that's like on the same level. You get a man that's pretty much the same, has the same proportions as a woman. Like as a woman in this type of example I'm using, you get the same man with the same proportions, and you get the same woman with the same proportions, and you train both of them up and stuff. You make both of them do a lot of exercising, and you make both of them like build their muscles up and stuff. I believe in the end, after all of this, that typically the man is just going to be more physically capable than the woman. Obviously, that's just sort of like my opinion. A lot of people are going to be contentious and disagree, but yeah, man versus woman, I believe where man and woman are capable of a lot of the same things within reason, but there are still sometimes the people that believe in like this type of equality bullshit, that there are like there's absolutely no differences between the genders. Man and woman are interchangeable. This is nonsense. Hormonally, this is not true. In terms of genitals, this is not true. In terms of like a lot of different things, this is not true. I know I'm kind of already mumbling with this video, but you get like a man with the same proportions, like the same height, all the same proportions, and you get a girl and she has like the same proportions, the same height, and you get this guy and you get this girl, and you make them like both train and exercise and become more athletic and start to build more muscle and stuff. We both know like the guy is just going to be more physically capable. Like these stereotypical views about men being more physically capable and stronger and stuff, and more with higher testosterone and more and stuff like that, and in this type of way, these stereotypical views, and women being more effeminate with more estrogen and stuff like that, these stereotypical views of the genders, they don't come from nowhere. Look at our history as a species. Men have typically been going to war and stuff, and women were just at home taking care of the children. These stereotypical views don't come from nowhere. Obviously, I'm not going to be some type of sexist, misogynistic person. Men and women are capable of a lot of the same things. Obviously, I believe that. 100%, like with the right education and stuff like that, with the right resources, you get a guy and you get a girl, and you put them in you give them the same opportunities to succeed. I believe they'll be on the same level. They'll be on the same level in terms of them becoming successful. Obviously, I believe that. But there are, still this equality bullshit. Like there are absolutely no differences between the genders. This is nonsense. There are differences between the genders in terms of hormones, in terms of genitals, obviously, in terms of hormones specifically. That's very important. Men just typically have higher testosterone. I mean, maybe a lot of you might be contentious and disagree, so you can provide me with some type of study that demonstrates that women have just as much testosterone as men. Obviously, I'm being kind of a dumbass, because I'm caricaturizing these two groups. I'm painting there's one type of guy and one type of a woman, girl. Obviously, there's so many different group types of men and women and stuff. Some men are tall. Then there are men that suffer from dwarfism, midgets and stuff, and there are women that are obese, and there are women that are more fit and athletic and stuff. But typically you got a guy. He has the same proportions and stuff, and you get a girl and she has the same proportions as this guy in this example and stuff. You make them both go through a fitness program and stuff. I believe in the end the guy is just going to be more physically capable, just because the guy has the added benefit of being born with more testosterone than the woman. In my opinion, in that type of way, I believe that man versus woman, I believe men have some type of slight advantage just because we're naturally born with testicles and we have more testosterone because of this and stuff. You could be contentious and disagree. A lot of women do get very frustrated, and they want to make it seem like men and women, man and woman, there's literally absolutely no differences between us. Now this is bullshit. There are a couple differences, obviously, but I do believe that. I'm not just gonna be a sexist, misogynistic, dickhead person. I believe that a man and a woman are capable. We are capable of a lot of the same things, provided with the right. If we are provided with the right resources and opportunities to become successful, then I believe that we are capable of a lot of the same things in life. I believe we can pursue any type of thing that we want and stuff with the right training and resources and opportunities. I believe we can accomplish a lot of the same things. But there is still a line between these genders. There's still a reason that we differentiate these two genders, man and woman, male and female and stuff like that. Again, you get a guy, he has the same proportions and stuff like that. And you get a girl, and she has the same proportions and stuff. You get a guy, and he has the same proportions. They're as tall as each other. You get a guy, and you get a girl, and they're as tall as each other. They have the same level of health, stuff, arterial health, muscular health, all these different types of health. They're as healthy as each other and stuff. And you put them through a fitness program. In the end, in my opinion at least, I believe that the guy's just going to be more physically capable, because we are born with testicles and we have higher testosterone, and that makes us more physically capable, I believe. Obviously, exceptions, and there are men that are effeminate and frail, and some men that are born with dwarfism and are midgets and stuff, obviously. But typically, you get a guy with the same proportions and you get a girl with the same proportions. Put them through a fitness program. In the end, I believe the guy is just going to be more physically capable, because we men, we're born with testicles and we have higher testosterone. Is that sexist? I don't believe so. Is that sexist? I don't believe so. I don't believe that's misogynistic. Again, I believe that men and women, man versus woman, I believe we're capable of a lot of the same things. I don't believe that there's anything a guy can do that a girl can't do and stuff, with the right training and resources and opportunities to become successful. But still, there are still a couple differences between man and woman, man versus woman. In my opinion, men we're more physically capable just because we're born with testicles and stuff, and we have higher testosterone. That just makes us more physically capable. And you might become contentious and disagree. I mean, why do you think men and women, in terms of old what was it, MMA fights, why is it that we don't allow women to compete with the men in these types of these MMA fights, UFC or something similar? Why is it that we separate men and women from these types of competitions and sports events and stuff like that? We separate men and women just because we both know that just because we're born with testicles, we have higher testosterone, we're more physically capable. I believe there's some studies that sort of suggest that men, we have our bone structure is a little bit more dense and stuff, and so we're more stronger in that type of way. I don't know. Man versus woman. Obviously, it's kind of like a dumbass caricature, because there's not one type of man, one type of woman. But in most cases, men are just more physically capable because we are born with testicles and we have higher testosterone and stuff, more physically capable. Why do you think, in terms of MMA fights, in terms of the UFC thing and stuff like that, why don't we just allow men and women to come together and to fight each other and stuff? Why is it that they're typically, you look at MMA matches and UFC fights and blah blah blah, there's always a guy and a guy. It's never a guy on a girl and stuff like that. Why do we put like we separate like these like types of competitive sports between the genders. Why do we do that? It's because men, just because we're born with testicles, we just typically have higher testosterone and stuff because of that, and we're more physically capable. Obviously, there are like a lot of exceptions, and obviously some guys are born more effeminate and frail, and some girls are more physically strong and stuff. But typically, these stereotypical views are not just pulled out of nowhere. They come from like a lot of our history as a species. Like men used to go to war and stuff, women used to stay at home and stuff, blah blah blah. Anyway, but typically man versus woman, I believe there are like, in terms of like a lot of things, like man and woman, men and women, we're capable of a lot of the same things. A lot of you are probably expecting me to be very sexist and misogynistic. Nope. I believe man and woman, we are capable of a lot of the same things. Obviously within reason, provided that we have like the same opportunities and resources to become successful. I believe we are capable of the same things. Although there is still a reason that we have like we separate the genders into two like neat little categories. There are like people that believe in this type of equality bullshit, that there are absolutely no differences between the genders. They're just deluding themselves. Like man and woman, typically there's like we're literally born with like different genitals. Men and women are literally born with different genitals. We have different hormones that flow through our body and stuff. All of this is true. Man versus woman. I'm not going to be sexist and misogynistic. I believe that we are capable of a lot of the same things, but within reason, obviously. But obviously, this type of equality bullshit is stupid. Because men and women, we like it's like these people that believe in this type of equality bullshit, that there's absolutely no differences between the genders. They're being delusional and stupid. They're not facing reality. Because the reality is that there are like differences between the genders. Men are born with penises, girls are born with vaginas, women are born with vaginas, men are born with penises, and women are born with vaginas. We have different hormones and stuff like this. Men typically have higher testosterone, are more physically capable. Women have more estrogen, or like kind of more frail. Typically, I don't know. I mean, there's a reason why, if you watch MMA and UFC fights and stuff like that, why don't we just allow men and women? Like, why is it always like you watch MMA matches? Why is it typically always like a man on another man? Why isn't it like a man on a woman typically? It's because we all understand that there are like typically like men are just more physically capable and stuff because we are born with testicles and we have higher testosterone because of that. But, man versus woman, I believe that we're capable of a lot of the same things, but this type of equality bullshit is just nonsense. That there are absolutely no differences between the genders. This is bullshit. In my opinion, men are just typically more physically capable than women and stuff, and we have dicks and they have vaginas and stuff, and we have different hormones. Although we pretty much can do the same things, but obviously I believe that men are kind of like at an advantage because we're born with testicles and we have higher testosterone because of this and stuff. And that's just my opinion, though. Obviously, I hope I don't come off as like a very sexist, misogynistic person, and that's about it.